Good afternoon, class. My name is Devin Schaller. I'm representing teaching heterogeneous classes, specifically certain techniques that you can use to mitigate any problems that you're having teaching heterogeneous classes. So let's begin. First, obviously, our SMART objective. At the end of this 5-minute presentation, you, the students, are going to be able to identify the 4 techniques for teaching heterogeneous classes. And given that the book only had 4 of them, I'm expecting 100% accuracy with identifying them. So, hopefully y'all can do that. Some key terms and concepts that I want to kind of go over before we start this is obviously heterogeneous classrooms. If you're unfamiliar with this term, it's basically a classroom composed of students of a variety of abilities and backgrounds. And it sounds kind of redundant because obviously every classroom is going to be heterogeneous to a certain degree, especially secondary education classrooms. Given an 8th grade class, you may have students that are reading at 6th grade level or an 11th grade level. So there's quite the disparity when it comes to their achievement. So you got to keep that in mind as you're giving instruction. Grading system, this may be familiar to you, but in the context of heterogeneous classrooms, it's the method by which a teacher assigns points and value to individual and group assignments. And you'll see further in this lesson that it's extremely important because how you grade a student's work directly contributes to their success and their own personal achievement. The enrichment activity, it's extremely important when it comes to heterogeneous classrooms because it allows students to succeed in certain things that they may not be able to do at a certain point. So for instance, if you have a student that may not have a high achievement level, you can give them something that is a little bit lower in terms of difficulty so they can still have some success. And it's an assignment or activity used to add depth to a student's knowledge of a topic. You can also do this on the flip side with a student that is that has a higher achievement level. You can give them certain activities or assignments to do on their own, maybe an investigative activity where they can kind of explore their own learning. The first technique for teaching heterogeneous classrooms is assessing the entering and achievement. And the first day of class, especially as first-year teachers, that's going to be especially important because we have really no baseline to go from. So there are previous year testing scores that you can look at to see where they may have their strengths or weaknesses. You can also administer your own pre-tests or assignments for teacher review. For instance, if you're looking for their note-taking skills or ability, you can have them take notes on the first day for whatever you're doing and collect the notes and see where their strengths are, see where their weaknesses are, and you can kind of keep that in mind as you're giving lessons for the future. And also, your curriculum coordinators and also teachers that have been there for quite a long time can offer assessment materials for you to use with your students, and it'll kind of give you a better idea of what to expect of them in the future. And this is a pretty poignant little cartoon, maybe you've seen it or not, but it's basically asking a line of different animals to climb the tree for that same exam. So it kind of illustrates how testing to the same level for all students is obviously going to be detrimental to them. The next one, the second one, is modifying whole group instruction. And this is something that you can kind of do on the fly as you're delivering a lesson to everyone. You want to promote full student participation. You don't want to tend to call on the students that are always raising their hands. You want to make sure that you're including the students that may often be, hiding behind someone else not raising their hand. You want to make sure you call them, even if they don't have the correct answer, even if they can't give an answer at all. Just motivate them to try and answer and to participate. You want to constantly assess your students' performance, and this can be formative or summative, especially formative, because as you're going, you want to make sure that you are supporting your students' learning and that you are making sure that you are conveying the proper expectations to them and that you're assessing them appropriately. Seating arrangements. If you have students that have a hearing impairment or glasses, or if they just aren't paying attention in general, move them up to the front of the class, move them to the corner where you can constantly move around and be next to them so that you can keep them on task, so that you can keep them attentive. Multiple assignments, going back again to the different kinds of assignments. You want to make sure that there's assignments that will not only challenge all spectrums of students, but that they can have some kind of achievement or some kind of success with the assignment itself. Peer tutoring is something that the book suggested, but that is something that you really want to be careful with, because you want to make sure that the expectations of the student that's doing the peer assistance is, you want to make sure those expectations are well known. Because, I mean, obviously